I will be right with you. Surprise! Hello there. Thank you for joining me. I had no battery in my lights. I was trying to be all smooth, but you probably heard me skulking behind the camera. So today, I love doing these kind of workouts. Today is a 5-move workout, but we've been talking lots about red lights lately. So I thought many of you asked me about combining, in the spirit of saving time. Hang on a second. Sometimes when the internet slows, I get this. There we go. So today I'm going to incorporate, before I get into the workout, I'm just going to do a very quick recap. So today I'm working, this is the AllevaRed belt, and I have attached to it the portable power bank that Lifepro offers. If you are joining me, before I get into my ramble, because I did this once before, if you can see and hear me on the other end, just let me know. I'd appreciate it. I'm going to go in and share this to the main group. Yes, everything's working. 2 secs here, share. Group. There it is. Okay, join me. Perfect. Okay, so I've pre-charged the battery pack. Depending on which belt you have, I had a few questions this morning in preparation for this. So thank you for those that sent those to me ahead of time. It put it in my brain. But depending on the belt that you're using, the vast majority, with the exception of the new Pro Elite, the new Pro Elite, as I covered in my red light belt session a couple weeks ago, I'll put that in the comments if you want more detail. But the newest Lifepro belts with that come with their own battery pack also have a triple chip diode. So the lights in here are higher intensity. They get hot quicker, and you do not need as long a treatment time. If you've watched any of my light therapy sessions on the torch, the torches, the handhelds, they're high intensity, short duration in treatment. The new Pro Elite belts, many of you ask, how come I can't set it for 30 minutes? Or how come it isn't a default at 30 minutes? Because 10 minutes on the new Pro Elite is the same kind of intensity as if you're going, let's say 25, 30 minutes on the older style. So depending on which belt you are using, the vast majority of you are probably working with the plug-in style. So depending on the belt that you are using, you can plug it into the wall. Any of the moves I'm doing today are standing. So you can do any of these with your belt. So what I've done here is I've pre-attached my belt with the controller. This is the AllevaRed Pro, not the Pro Elite. The AllevaRed regular belt, the first one, will also work with this. Now, I'm going to be doing, I was cleaning a haul and helping clients today, and my back is killing me. So I'm going to put this around. I want this right on my skin, okay? So, plastic's cold. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. Now that I'm connected, I first turn on the battery pack. Then I grab the remote. See how it's come to life because I've now given it power. Oh, see that? Okay. I put my battery pack back in here. Okay, and I'm just gonna let the controller dangle. Now, for me personally, my pain is a little on this side, so I've kind of turned the belt that way. And I'm just using red light and infrared. I'm not using the pulse or anything like that. Now, for the workout today, I'm working on the Rumblex Pro, but as all of my sessions are, I'm using oscillating movement. It's the one movement that all of Lifepro's models offer, and it's also the foundational movement of what we're doing in most cases. I haven't had any comments yet. If anyone, before I get doing the routine, is having issues seeing or hearing me on the other end, please somebody just let me know that I'm coming through okay. And I'll get rambling on the workout portion here. Coffee, such a good workout choice, right? Okay. If you are not joining me from the main Lifepro group, comments may not be coming through. If you're in the VIP or other groups where I have shared this, good old Deborah. Thank you. Did you know that there was like National Deborah or Debby Day or something like that on the 15th? Just a point. We have our own day. Thank you, Deborah. So now that I know that we've got a sound check, my belt is going. So if you are using one of the traditional belts that has a timer of up to 30 minutes, what combo should I do? The workout, if we're doing 1 to 2 minutes, is going to be 5 to 10 minutes in total. So I had a little bit of a sciatic issue going on, as I said. So in a perfect world, if I wasn't racing, I normally do about 10 minutes on the belt. Then I keep it going. And my workout is, like I say, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And then maybe I do another 10 minutes after. Maybe I don't. It sort of depends on how I'm feeling. So come summer, I know many of you are doing other things. You're into sporting activities. School things are wrapping up. So I get a lot of feedback on my short and to the point workouts. So 5 moves in 5 minutes. I would call this, if I had to, categorize it, I would call it, a calorie burn or weight loss, or this is something that you could do to boost calories is really the goal. So as I said, I'm in oscillating movement. My feet are about hip width apart, and I'm cranking my Rumblex Plus up to 35 as a speed today. I want you somewhere in that mid-range. I would always rather have you going a little faster with feet a little bit closer than really wide and choppy. It's not a right or wrong. It's just my preference, and especially if you're dealing with anything chronic, any issues like that. So a little bit of a warm-up, and just to get the heart rate going. My belt's getting warm already. We're going to start with some step-ups, okay? Whatever pace is comfortable for you. I don't want you going so fast that you're losing balance and tripping on the machine. If you are dealing with anything chronic, maybe you did a workout today already and you just want to do some recovery, move some lymph, keep it as a slower pace. We're going to try and work on our posture. We're going to focus on our breathing. And for those of you that want a bit more of a calorie burn or are able, let's double time it and pick up the pace. So we're going a little bit faster, okay? Now, add-ons. So this is the basic first move. What if we want upper body, Debbie? What if we want more total body lymph? Oh, I lost step there just talking about it. So maybe we just dramatize and we add, extra big arm swings, or maybe we're doing swings like this, or maybe we're doing swings like this. It depends on what you want to do. Just get those arms moving, however feels good. Bring them to part of the equation. Now, maybe you want to add some weights or some milk jugs or something. If you're trying to build and tone upper body, making the arms and the muscles that are supporting the activity is just going to burn more calories and help with the toning. Okay. So how many step ups, Debbie? I would say a minute. This isn't going to the point where you're completely fatigued and exhausted. We got 4 moves left. So if you are coming from a place of poor cardiac health, you have lots of, fatigue, those type of things throughout the day, keep the pace more moderate and shoot for that 30-second to a minute mark. For those of you that are more conditioned, you want to kick your butt, you want to get back into those shorts, double time it. And you should be feeling winded by a minute. Push it as long as 2 if you're building that up. So the next one we're going to do is we're going to work on the hips a little bit. And I want to get some pelvic tilt action going. After that, we're going to do some squats. So I always like doing pelvic tilts. Yes, because I'm having back issues lately. But it makes your range of motion, your balance, your stability, everything better when we get to the mean stuff. So if you are not doing pelvic tilts now, this is generally always my warm-up. So we're just tilting the bum forward, hold for 2-3 seconds, clench those butt cheeks, back, forward, back. So this is the basic second move. Let's add some arms back in. So, maybe you got some tunes going, something to give you a beat. I'm going to add today some goalposts. So goalposts are just like they sound. My arms are going to go up like a goalpost. And with the tilt forward, we're going to bring the elbows forward, hold for 2-3, back for 2-3. You almost feel a stretch in that low back. And let's hold 2-3, 30 seconds to a minute on this one. For those of you that are dealing with fatigue, maybe you've got respiratory issues, this is also going to give you a minute to just chill after the step-ups if you need it, okay? For those of you that are a little bit more coordinated, maybe you got a heavier beat going, if you're comfortable and the stability is there, okay? For those of you who are trying to build balance and stability, it's a perpetual benefit. It's always occurring. You're always improving your circulation, your lymph, your balance, your stability. There's things that happen just by standing on the plate. It doesn't matter what the position is. But if you wanted to challenge your balance without doing balance moves, close the eyes. So while you're doing some of these, close them, open them. Close them, open them. It's in the time with your tilts. So let's close them on the way forward. Hold, 2, 3, open them on the way back. Just a way to start boosting the balance if you're not comfortable doing, one-legged or Bosu ball or balance specific type of positions. Okay. So the next one we're going to move into is the squat. The squat, if you're not doing fitness positions now, you've always had the best of intentions, but you find yourself 6 months or a year in and you're just standing on your plate. Keep it simple and learn a good squat. So a good squat is going to encompass those big muscle groups of the thighs, the glute. For those of you that are looking at toning, tightening, burning a few calories, doesn't mean you have to do a 15, 20-minute workout. You want to get these muscles groups to a level of fatigue. And all the while we're adding the red belt, we're combining and enhancing and adding other benefits. Okay? So now we're going to simply go down. We're going to hold 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have arthritis, hypermobile joints, you are dealing with, inflammation, those type of things. What am I doing wrong here? I think I hit a button. I did hit a button when I was showing off. There. Okay. So not moving is, you can still get those muscles to a level of fatigue. They're burning, they're firing. You don't necessarily need to move. Okay. Sometimes it's the movement. Maybe the technique isn't quite there. You're shifting your weight and compensating. So sometimes it's the movement or too wide. Just because your feet can go wide and you can suck it up and tolerate it, that doesn't mean it's doing anything for troublesome joints. So be more functional, hip width apart. We're going to squat. Okay. Now, for those of you that want to burn more calories, you're doing squats now. If you do want to move, very slow, purposeful, dynamic moves. Pay attention to where you feel that load building and challenging the muscles. If you've got a weak side or a deficiency, you're going to feel your body trying to compensate and shift forward, backward. Keep those heels planted and just go as low as your own range of motion allows. This isn't a really good squat. That's just bending over, okay? Keep a good line, like you're getting ready to sit down in a chair. And if you want to push yourself a little further, perhaps adding some hand weights, maybe you've got a barbell. Adding mass is a really good way to fatigue. So for those of you on this one that are just starting to squat, focusing on holding, you might last 10, 15 seconds. Maybe you do a couple 3 reps. So stand up, take a little break, go back into that squat. For those of you that are a little bit more conditioned, you've been doing them regularly, make sure you're challenging yourself within your range of motion and your ability. Don't just stand up here when you look like this at the gym. Mimic what you do on the floor. This will fatigue you faster. And of course, by adding your red light and your infrared, we're adding those additional benefits in the equation. So the next one we're going to do, we are going to be standing on the machine, but I want to target our sides a little bit, okay? Again, I wanted to try and think of things we could do standing. So we're keeping this off the ground for now. So we're going to bend a little bit. We're going to take our hands, put them on our ears, and I just want you bending, directing the opposite towards the opposite knee. 1. And you may not be getting as low, but I just want you twisting, pointing. Straight, twist, point. Whatever feels good. Just want to work those sides a little bit. Okay. Probably a good 8 to 10 reps, depending more so how the legs feel at this point from the previous 2 exercises. If you're finding that's challenging, maybe you're just leaning slightly to the side. Okay. And the legs are probably starting to burn out like mine are. I would love to see that one again, a minute, perhaps 2. The total workout time is really going to depend on each position. But again, I've designed this today, so it's going to be like the 5-10 minute mark if you're doing 1 to 2 minute reps. Okay. So the next one I want is kind of a final calorie burn. And we're going to get back into a squat, but we're going to do a little variation to help relax the back and some of the other exercises with the tilts that we've just been doing. So again, this whole time, my speed is at 35. My feet are at hip width apart, which is, kind of the middle position, depending on what you're comfortable with. So on this one, I want you, some call it a king's pose, Superman pose. I want your arms out in front of you, crossed, whatever feels comfortable on your hips. And I want one final push on those squats. I want to make sure those legs are done. So we're going to go down and we're going to hold. And in my morning routine, for those of you that follow my morning stuff, this is kind of what I do in the morning. I burn my legs out, do 3, 4, maybe 5 different reps. And instead of, just going for one big long squat, in between them, I stand up, bring my heels a little bit closer because my back is sensitive today. I'm just going to lean over to about a 45 degree. My knees are almost locked, slightly undone. If you do want to lock them, you know what? For 30 seconds to a minute, it's fine, guys. If you have troublesome knees, use common sense and unlock them, okay? But what this is doing is targeting that low back, those hips. Maybe I let the arms hang. Once I feel a little better, let's go back into another squat. So let's do another rep. We're going to go down, hold those arms right in front of us, out. Maybe you're holding some weights. Just want you to hold till you can't hold no more. Keep holding. Then we're going to come up and do that low back again too. Hold, whatever feels good, right? Feel recovered. Let's go into one more, okay? So whether you are pushing out 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 is really going to depend on your current level of conditioning. But on this last set, I just want you pushing for broke. So you're done. You don't want to do another set or 5-10 seconds in, you're done. If you're using one of the traditional belts, as I said, where you've got up to a 30-minute timer, if you choose and time allows, maybe you want to do another 10 minutes, just as a recovery. Maybe you're sitting down on the machine and doing some massage. If you're using the new belt, and I timed this right, With the new Pro Elite, as I said, the new triple chip, the diode in it is a little bit more effective in less time. So you're only needing that 10-minute. That's why the preset is set up that way for those of you that were asking. You can certainly do another session, but what I would recommend with any of the new belts, with the attachable batteries, the mini belts, all of those other belts in the series, if you are going to do a back-to-back session after you've done a 10-minute run, give it about 3 to 5 minutes to just cool before you proceed with another session, especially if you're going the full time. If you're just looking a couple of minutes more, that might be different. But if you're going to do another full 10 minutes back-to-back, give it a chance to just take a breather. And if you're doing another body part or you want to do another round on your back, completely depends on your tolerance. Okay? So I'm going to turn me off. And I'm going to detach, and I want to do some talking with you guys. I'm just kind of breaking a sweat. I do find typically a lot of you ask me, well, can I use this, on my bare skin? You can see that I just did. I definitely need a tan in that area. But if you find that, you're a sweater or you're pushing yourself to the point of sweat, even with red light, I really have no issue using just like a light cotton t-shirt or something that will absorb the sweat. The red light will penetrate it, as will the infrared for sure. So I normally like having a little bit of fabric, especially if I'm doing a longer session, just to absorb the sweat, if that makes sense. So if you are going to wear clothing with any of this, make sure that it's organic in nature. Don't be wearing nylon and a bunch of polyesters, things that aren't going to help you wick and sweat. So make sure that, cotton, hemp, linen, those types of things. If you don't have any clothing, because you'd be surprised when you start looking on the rack, or, maybe you've ripped off all your labels and you're not sure, just grab a cotton sheet or a flannel sheet and wrap yourself in that, or cut a piece to fit. There's all kinds of ways that you guys can get creative. So what else? I have Deborah here still. And a long time ago, she said, what? Oh, you're probably talking about the Deborah Day reference that I made. Yeah, someone else had posted that and shared with me, and I didn't know there was a National Debby Day. So that was kind of cool. I spell mine with a Y, but I never get the keychain at the gas station. I invite your questions at this point. As I said, I will post in the comments the link to the breakdown of the different red light belts. Lifepro's lineup has expanded astronomically, and one of their belts now includes PEMF, red light, and infrared. So any of those, absolutely can be combined with your vibration plate session. Perhaps you're doing rebounding, which is coming soon. Maybe you're using one of life's treadmills or a seated elliptical. You can combine your tools not only to reduce the amount of time or treatment time, a self-care time. Some of you have to do this stuff, which is just a drag for your lymphatic issues or your pain. But for those of you that are looking to, get in shape, tone things up, maybe you're short on time, combining your tools is a great way not only to improve fitness gains and boost recovery, but it's an awesome way to help reduce the self-care or therapy time that many of you are having to do regularly at home. For the fitness benefits, as far as the vibration plate, any weight bearing activity, standing on the plate, those types of things are going to keep the bones strong, make them stronger, the muscles, but of course, a little bit of effort goes a long way. So if the muscles are working harder, the bones are being stressed out and utilized more, they're going to be forced to perform and improve. If you're just going through the motions and thinking slapping all this stuff on you is going to help you tone 80 pounds and get abs, you will need to get to a point where you're doing exercises appropriate to create that form. So, but for those of you that are dealing with, just issues that keep you from being active in how you would like to be, a lot of these are also hacks to help you combat that bad knee, that bad hip. You want to get active and you want to get those muscles to a level of fatigue, but sometimes the time, the duration it takes through traditional activities, bad knees and bad backs don't always tolerate long durations very well. And also if you're dealing, like I say, with pain, fatigue, some of these chronic conditions, you may have the best discipline and the best of intentions, but if your body's not cooperating and supporting you, how can you? So combining these tools and spending less time being physical to get those muscles to a level of fatigue is going to reserve some of the energy that you do have, and in the long term start building it back up again. So you have to look at your own situation, and if there's any blanks that I can fill in for you, it's never black and white. It's never a cookie cutter setting. We're all unique. And I encourage each of you to, if you're not an exercise guru now, keep your moves, your routine, if you will, simple, basic, and evolve in each of the positions. So a basic squat, there's a bazillion different variations that you can add, whether it's, adding dynamic movements like we did with the arms today, adding some weight, get creative. You are only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. If the goal is to burn some calories, whether you are applying yourself or not. For those of you that are pushing to fatigue, you're working out regularly on it. I had another question this week about, I'm not sore after I do this. Why am I not all sore like I am when I come from the gym? And immediately we kind of think we're not doing enough time, but we forget the fact, even though myself, Roseanne, and Amber, and every person with Lifepro tells you how effective they are at boosting lymph and circulation, guess what? They're boosting the recovery while you're doing the exercise. So whatever positions you're doing on the plate, because the machine is bringing into the equation, that turbo boost of circulation and lymphatic movement, you're kind of recovering while you're doing your exercises. So you shouldn't feel as sore the next day, which is the appeal, especially if you're dealing with issues. If you are really, really sore after you've done a workout, you've probably done a little bit too much. You may be dehydrated. Maybe you're doing it too frequently. Sort of play with that ratio, but you shouldn't be looking for that no pain, no gain mentality when it comes to vibration plates. You don't need to suffer. And as I've gotten older, the appeal of that is less and less. So Jody Lynn says, yes. Deborah says, good info. Didn't know you could use the belt while on the plate. Safety is a precaution with some of these evolutions that Lifepro's come up with on the battery packs. Long before they were cordless, I was doing them plugged into the wall. So, as long as your machine is situated in a position, there's no reason if you're selective with your exercises that you couldn't be plugged into the wall while you're doing your workout, if that's the style of belt that you have. So, combine things, especially for those of you that are, doing this drag of self-care on a regular basis. If you can reduce the amount of time that you're spending doing this stuff, you can have more you time and doing other things that you enjoy with your time. So it is still 30% off with Lifepro right now. So there's some really awesome deals direct with Lifepro on their site. Not all inventory and options are there. Of course, they also sell on Amazon. So be sure that you check out both. And next week, we are into June. So we've got a very busy week for me next week. On Tuesday, I will be doing, it's June is Lipedema Awareness Month. Not lymphedema, but they're so intertwined and so many common symptoms, and many of you have both. So it's my biggest session of the year. I will be doing probably the 6-7 p.m. Time frame, and that's next Tuesday. And then next Saturday is my first of the month open vibration plate orientation crash course. So I'll get those events up. The lipedema event has already been posted in the Lifepro page. Anytime you guys want notifications or access to the recording, I understand everybody can't make every live all the time. Make sure you go into the event and select going or interested, whether you're going or not. If I do a short time change like I did today, or if you're just wanting to look for the recording afterwards, instead of scrolling through the pages, once the event has wrapped, if you pardon me, if you go into the live, you'll see that the recording is right there. So if you go into the event, once the event has wrapped up, the recording can easily be found there. So it'll say something like there's a recording now available. So whether you can make it or not, go in and indicate on those events that you're going or interested in, and that way you'll just get a fast track to the recorded basis as well. I will get the red light belt session posted. For those of you that are wondering, I have this belt or I want to buy a belt. Sometimes it's not always the fanciest top of the line model. They're all very, very effective. And, unless you need yours to be completely mobile at all times, I'm still using my original AllevaRed. It plugs into the wall. I don't even have to look at it. I know all my little buttons, even though they're all worn off. It's still kicking like a racehorse. But for those of you that do travel lots, you don't want the hassle of cords. Of course, things have evolved since that first belt. So there's now the battery pack. And then the new Pro Elite series, as I said, come with their own batteries, but they are a shorter treatment time. So just to address on the question on that one. So I'll get that posted up as well. For those of you that may be watching this on a recorded basis, or you have other questions about today's session or ones you'd like me to do in the future, just tag me at Debby with a Y. I'll for sure get a notification that way. Sometimes if it's just a comment and the conversation gets going, I don't always get the notifications from Facebook. Go figure. So make sure that you tag me if you have a question, or perhaps you're referring to someone else that has a question, and that way I'll get the notification on that. Jody Lynn says that she loves her belt. You know what? I haven't met anybody that doesn't love their belt. I'm not a big set it and forget it fan when it comes to the vibration plates. And there's a little bit more to exercising sometimes than there is some of the passive therapies. But I do love the infrared belts. Long before any of the knee braces and the hats and all these other things came out, many of you, like I was, getting creative. I used it on my knee. I used it on my shoulder. I used it on my neck. So the belts are what I would kind of call in the middle as far as, treatment area size. And if you are a chronic back person, or you just spend a lot of time seated, or you have activities that present, things that on your body at the end of the day, the belts are a really, really convenient way to set it, forget it, and just get on with other things that you got to do while you're taking that, the benefit of the heat and the light therapy. So thank you everybody for joining me today. I hope it was a good session. I think I'm going to keep some of these workouts shorter going into the season, and probably do a couple more seasonal ones because it is summer. And as I did golf and gardening out on the deck there a couple weeks ago, I'm looking for ideas. If there's certain types of workouts that you guys like, if there's ones you don't like so much, I can only improve what I'm doing for you guys by you giving me the feedback. So I invite those of you that are joining me today, if you have a session idea, a topic, medical, non-medical, a symptom, whatever it may be, and there's a session that you'd like me to do with a vibration plate or whatever tech Lifepro has, please make a comment today, and I'd be curious to get some feedback from you guys. Maybe I'll do a poll in the group as well later. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. For those of you that were off yesterday with Memorial Day, I hope you had a great weekend. If you've got something in your shopping cart and you've been considering it, don't wait for inventory to run out. The sale will be ending at some point this week, so act on that. If it's, sometimes it becomes more of a selection thing, and when you finally do decide to pull the trigger, there's nothing worse than it being out of stock. So thanks for having a great session with me. I enjoyed that. Don't work too hard, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here.